Welcome back, dweebs. We are going to talk mystery meats and multiverses today, among many other things. But I guess we'll start with The Flash, so that way if it doesn't go well, we can go back in time and start over or something.
You mean the most mysterious of meats, Ezra Miller?
Oh, but it was salt and peppered by Michael Keaton, so it was kind of like Spam.
Yeah, dang it. What's her name? Kara L, Supergirl. I thought
her and Keaton kind of stole the show.
I thought she did well with what she had.
Sasha Calle. I'm really looking forward to her own movie coming out. I am excited for that.
Yeah, they're going to do a Supergirl project with her, aren't they?
They are indeed. Production has been announced, but that's all we know so far.
Yeah, they were bright spots, I would say. Michael Keaton, as much as I hated the fact that they had him puppet every popular line from the 89 film, I'm Batman, and you want to get nuts when it doesn't really fit. That made me cringe.
Yeah, I didn't understand that. That was a reference to an old line, was it?
There is the I'm Batman one is from I think maybe one of the opening lines, but the you want to get nuts is when he's in Bruce Wayne mode. And I think the Joker's there, and he's
threatening to hurt Vicky Vale.
Yeah, and then Bruce Wayne grabs a iron poker from the chimney and is like, "You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts." And so there might have been others those are the two that popped out in my head that were big. Just like, I didn't mind you putting these in the trailer, but did you really have to put them in the movie? Like at least the I'm Batman one would have been fine because he's like you're I'm Batman. Like, yeah, okay, cool. That one works. Good enough. Whatever. It's still dumb, but I'll allow it. Whatever.
At least
me that.
The puzzle piece fit that time.
Exactly. Yeah,
Not
at least
so
you can
much the other
excuse
time.
it. The other time, it's like...
It was so ham-fisted.
Will you help us find Superman, Batman, or whatever it is? And he's like, you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. And it's like, no, I mean...
How the fuck is that an answer to the question, dude?
Like... You're making references to shit that they don't know.
I was confused.
Is that yes or no? I don't speak fucking boomer, asshole.
I never actually...
Tim Burton.
I never watched that one more than once that I can remember. So
Love to watch it.
I was real big on the one with Michelle Pfeiffer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah. That one hit at the right age. But yeah, the '89 Batman was big for me because it was also the first CD I ever had was the 1989 Batman soundtrack because it was performed by the artist formerly known as Prince. He did the entire soundtrack for that movie.
Yeah.
Okay. I really got to watch it now.
Yeah, it's got an interesting vibe.
They tried to get him and Michael Jackson to do it together. And he said, fuck Michael Jackson. You either have him or no Prince. And that's when they were like, okay, Prince, do your thing.
And he did.
And that's one of the most, amazingly chaotic songs came out of that soundtrack. It's like, I'm Batman.
There's some great... Trust is my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
But there's several good ones. Yeah, it's a classic. I love that whole soundtrack. I love that movie.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't enough to make me love this movie.
No.
Or what I am now hearing was the purposely bad, and I guess spoiler warning.
Oh.
Right? We've kind of spoiled some things, or not really much, honestly, yet.
Because we talked about this, and I only found out about it today.
Oh.
You were about to say it.
Which part?
The purposefully bad CGI.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be
purpose?
bad.
That's what they
say. That
say.
sounds like a cop-out.
Yes,
That's such a cop-out.
I'm calling bullshit. Y'all just had AI do it for you, and you felt bad afterwards.
What happened was they kept pushing that movie back to try to. My theory, this is my conspiracy theory, is in an effort to put some space between all of Ezra Miller's fuck ups and the release date to try to get people to forget about that and have more people watch it. And also possibly because James Gunn came in and they made some changes to the ending of the film, that they ended up spending more on marketing, because that's the other part. This is a $300 million film that looks the way that it looks. It should not look that way. It should not look like something out of Windows Movie Maker 98. Maybe it was 2000. Either way, it's PlayStation.
It was Windows XP.
PS2 graphics has become a meme at this point, but it really is what happened in that scene, which to me made it worse because you brought back dead actors without their consent, and if you're gonna do that, you could at least act like you give a shit.
Right.
I
yes.
mean,
about whether or not they look good.
Holy shit.
About
it was
whether or
so
not
bad.
It looks like it. The graphics reminded me of the movie Monster House. Do you remember that movie?
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
I remember seeing the commercials for it.
It was same style in my opinion. The CGI and Monster House animation, which I think came out in like the early 2000s.
Yeah. Wasn't that like made for TV?
Yeah, and this came out in 2023. No, it was. Okay. I'm pretty sure it was in theaters. I could be wrong.
Nickelodeon movie, maybe.
Maybe, but yeah, it wasn't like any kind of Pixar quality, and it's not that you need that for a movie like Monster House, but you need for animation like Monster House to not be in your fucking Flash movie. What the fuck was that?
Yeah.
It was disappointing.
What was their excuse? I'm sorry, I still don't get it.
That they wanted it to feel... I don't remember I'm paraphrasing, but I just saw that it was intentional. They wanted it to be cartoony, I guess.
Yeah.
And, I... Very, very frustrated by that. I mean, there were cool parts to it. I admittedly popped when I saw Nick Cage Superman fighting the giant spider, because that's a nod to the failed Tim Burton project, the Tim Burton Superman that they never got to make. And Nick Cage is such a big...
wrinkled her brain.
Yeah, Nick Cage is such a big Superman fan that he named his son Kal-El. At least, I don't know how many kids he has, but I know that he named at least one of them after Superman. And so to get to have that was the only one that I was like, felt somewhat respectful, because it was a project that never happened. That
right.
That I could. It was okay, I guess, to see it cartoony, because all we ever got to see were behind the scenes, test footage, exactly. Yeah. But when you talk about Christopher Reeve, is one thing who everyone loves, and we all know that story about him being paralyzed and becoming an icon a second time in life. But more specifically to me, George Reeves, the original television Superman, who had a lot of issues with that role because he couldn't get out of it. One of the reasons for the stigma that superhero movies had to endure over the years was, in the early going, when you did that was all that you did. You were never, kind of like Scorsese now. It wasn't viewed as a real acting. You weren't viewed as a real actor. You were just Superman. And George Reeves was unable to get work after that. He was depressed about it. And trigger warning here, and I'm going to use delicate language, but he very famously unalived himself at a Hollywood party. That was for his honor. Like, this is someone who really, really struggled with it. So for you to bring him back for this, it really feels like, maybe if you're going to do shitty cartoon graphics, it's weird. I just feel like, just don't do it then.
Yeah.
I don't know, because it almost feels like something like this should require a press release, that you should be somehow letting people know in your, maybe not a press release, but maybe in your marketing, you show more of the cartooniness, like make it be a thing. More throughout the movies.
Allude to it in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, do it early, so that way when you call back to it, it doesn't feel so again, I love this word for this show. It felt uncanny valley again
It
with
was.
these guys. And,
Oh my fucking god! And the most uncanny valley part for me was the baby shower.
oh god.
It felt
Maybe that was
weird.
our warning. Maybe it is on us.
It felt weird to me. Like I was crying, sobbing over the fact that these babies are falling out of this building, but they look so fucked up. I can't even feel bad for the dog because it looks so fucked up, but I'm not pregnant with puppies, so, you know, it's a little different.
And that's, oh my god.
Like,
and I'm trying not to laugh.
And I'm bawling, like,
because
bawling.
Yeah, because she, who is 8 months pregnant,
It's like,
is seeing babies fall out of a 20-story fucking window.
and they
Hospital
decide
window.
to make a baby shower joke.
They did,
Yeah.
very much so. I couldn't, but I couldn't even feel bad for the dog. Like,
No, that's
but they
fair.
looked so off.
It reminded me of the dancing baby in Ally McBeal, which came out when I was a child.
yes.
Yeah.
Again, 90s level CGI.
It
Yeah.
was so bad.
It was terrible. It was
And
kind of
then-
like watching Hello Neighbor pop onto the movie. Like, I maybe that's a little bit more
Maybe.
relatable with the graphics, but yeah,
Yeah.
it was like watching Hello Neighbor.
Oh, it felt like playing
babies.
Hello Neighbor. You know, and that's what a lot of the first. That's actually a great comparison for this next point, which was a lot of the early viewers who had a lot of nice things to say about this movie. When they got to watch the finished version, they've come back and said, "Well, I thought what I saw, like I thought they were going to improve upon these graphics. Like what you saw is what I saw, except now the ending was changed for a lot of the viewers. So the viewers who got the early screenings, the ending of the movie, it didn't show, it showed 2 feet coming out of the Bruce Wayne car. And then it just cut to the Flash saying, "Who the fuck is that?" and then roll credits. So they never showed you.
I would have liked that better.
Which, again, was another reason why people were coming out of the early screening saying, "I liked this a lot because the ending hit better," and they expected all of the graphics to be improved upon, and they weren't. There's also, I think, there's a lot more. There's a lot more Michael Keaton and Supergirl in this movie that got cut out. I believe there's almost like a 10-minute long scene where Michael Keaton talks about what happened between his movie and now, stuff like that. So there's some
that's
stuff
bullshit
that
got cut.
Yeah, right. My thoughts too.
I mean,
really hope
Jesus,
this
it's already
makes
2.5 hours. You could at least give us more Michael Keaton.
At least another 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah, he really was sparing, which was funny. I was afraid this was going to be a Batman movie with the Flash logo slapped on it, and it certainly was not that.
Mm-hmm.
No.
I was happy with the amount of Ben Affleck we got.
Same.
Because at least
it wasn't
we got
a lot.
something. It wasn't a lot, but he was cool.
But it wasn't too little.
It did make me sad that we won't get to see more of him, because I feel like he finally figured his Bruce Wayne out. Because that was the other thing I was going to see. His Bruce Wayne felt good. Like, it felt like he was like wise Bruce Wayne now. It didn't feel like Batman v Superman, where even if there is a fraction of a percentage of a chance, we must take it as an absolute certainty, right? Where it's like, easy, Ben, like, calm down.
Yeah.
But they were all just trying to outact each other. When Jesse Eisenberg gets on set, he tends to
chew it up.
Yeah, you chew the fat a little too much, and then, everybody's like, well, I can do that too,
Well, I gotta earn my fucking $2 million.
I'm gonna get my Oscar on this freaking
right. And it's no, and he had what people wanted, the Batman adventures / like Justice League early 2000s.
Yeah, got the Wonder Woman cameo.
Mm-hmm.
Damn it, Flash.
Mm-hmm.
Batman. Not the. Do you guys have any coffee, Batman?
Like, what is brunch? Like, what even is? Like, I don't understand brunch.
Yeah.
Yes, don't remember. I don't remember that Flash, which is maybe this is why everybody likes Wally West is the best. Because Barry Allen went away for 23 years in real life time, not comic book time. That's like an eternity in comic book time. So that, which I think we'll get to that at a certain point.
Oh, yeah.
I do think we will
He's definitely going away.
Done with this Barry Allen, and that's one of the...
It's somewhere between bad and good.
Yeah.
But neither good or bad.
It was like... I will enjoy watching this on stream when I can fast forward through the parts that I don't like and hopefully watch an extended version.
Yes.
That has more Batman stuff. Or
whatever. And more Kara stuff, too. Because I really enjoyed her. And
She's badass.
I think it was great setup for her to have her own movie. Hopefully they don't fuck that up.
I wonder how they're going to do that. So we can talk about their original plan, which they even filmed, was to have Michael Keaton and Kara show up. They were going to be who Barry ran into outside of the courthouse. So it was going to be somehow, somewhat, because that Batgirl movie that got canned, Michael Keaton plays Batman in that movie. So their original plans were that Michael Keaton was going to be before James Gunn got brought on, Michael Keaton was going to be the DCEU Batman moving forward after this Flash movie. And so they had filmed that into the ending. Then James Gunn gets involved,
shit's all
fires
over
everyone,
Fuck you, James Gunn.
fires Henry Cavill, fires Ben Affleck, essentially.
Michael Keaton's amazing.
More Cavill, man. He got fucked on that so hard.
Because, he did too. And Ben Affleck his scene got cut out of Aquaman 2. So, we could have had more Ben Affleck Batman. And so, because of that, I think that's why we got, again, big spoiler alert here, for those of you who haven't seen it, what are you still doing here? That's why we got George Clooney at the end, in my opinion, is to tie this off, basically, to say that we're done with this Barry Allen. But then the post-credit scene went and unfucked that by showing that Arthur was still there.
Right.
And then having him, which, I don't know, that version of Arthur seemed to be from the first Aquaman, so maybe that won't be our Arthur, and because that's what I'm hoping. What I'm hoping is that this just ended the DC EU, and now whatever the new DCU will be, maybe we'll have the Kara spin-off, but other than that, clean slate. I hear that the Blue Beetle is a DCU character, so he's stuck in that weird limbo, because I think that movie got made and created while it was DC EU, but he's going to be as part of the new canon. So just give us Teen Titans. The one thing I can maybe think that James Gunn's styling would be great for would be a Teen Titans movie.
Ooh, who should be Raven? Oh, the chick that plays Wednesday.
Jen Ortega. I was just thinking her.
I was going to say who, but they wouldn't be teen. Damn it. I was going to go, if they have if they do It or something like that where they have parallel timelines and you get the adult versions, give me who plays Ahsoka. I cannot remember the actress's name, but she was in Sin City. I'll have to look it up.
She's
Ahsoka.
Gorgeous.
Ahsoka on what?
In the Mandalorian and in the upcoming show.
Yeah, I don't watch that.
Rosario Dawson.
Rosario Dawson, there we go. Give me Rosario Dawson to play an adult Raven.
Yes, I am down with that.
Who would play, it would be interesting to... we would never see it. And I think this version of the DCU is going with the Damian Wayne version of Robin, so... This person I'm about to pitch wouldn't fit that version, but the OG Teen Titans version of Robin, you know who I think would have been a perfect cast for that?
Who?
Tom Holland.
Tom Holland
is like an upbeat, because that Robin is like, he's a dork, like the Teen Titans
that
Robin.
That would be perfect.
He's not dark, broody, like raised by assassins. Ooh. Like that's what we're gonna get. We're gonna get the brave and the bold, Bruce Wayne's actual son raised by assassins Robin. But if we were getting the quirky, like funny Robin, like Tom Holland to me just screamed like the first name, and I'm like, fuck. Well, it can't be. Him.
He'd be. You mean Dick, right?
Is it Dick that does the Teen Titans? Was it Dick? I thought
it's Dick Grayson because he goes on to be Nightwing.
Well, okay. Yes, so that's
Dick.
the original iteration.
So Tom Holland would be perfect because he's the one he was the child acrobat.
Oh,
Right.
like
He was a Flying Graysons.
that's the same Robin that was in the George Clooney.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's because
Dick Grayson,
his parents died during a show or something.
Yep. And what's the I keep wanting to say Tim Curry. What's the because what's the one Tim Drake?
Yep. He's one like everybody hated.
And is he the one that then became the Red Hood? Right? Is somebody getting that together? Yeah, because I'm trying to figure out which. Because
Jason Todd.
Jason Todd. Okay, so Tim Drake, I believe,
was the one after
is the more modern
Dick Grayson,
iteration.
yeah.
Because the modern iteration of Teen Titans has, I believe, Nightwing is a tertiary, like secondary character. So I believe Dick Grayson has already aged out, but he'll sometimes assist them.
Nightwing usually ages out, and that's when another Robin comes in.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like I think where
Tim or Damian.
Yep. And so, I guess they would have, and that would be cool. I'm sure there are some Teen Titans runs that have Damian that I would love to read. And now when I'm thinking, for whatever reason, and I know what the reason is, it's because of my younger brother and his former obsession with Teen Titans Go. But a lot of time when I think of Teen Titans, a lot of times like that's the
people hated that show.
That's what
Kids
sticks in my head. Yeah, kids loved it. Well, and I just loved it because it was something that
it was silly.
It was silly, but it was a way that I could get my brother to care about some of the same characters that I cared about growing up, and I could be like, "Oh, you like this stuff with Robin? Like, check out this other stuff with Batman and Robin."
Yeah. And then you can, as they grow up, you can age the material for them.
Yeah, same reason I love Lego stuff with like that's got so boring so fast as an adult to play it, but it was like, okay, this is fun enough. But unfortunately, this Flash movie, it kind of did feel like playing through a Lego Flash game, where it was like, every once in a while there were some cool cut scenes here and there. The graphics left a lot to be desired, but overall, for the most part, I just felt kind of bored. And here's the other thing, I ruined and this is not the fault of the previews, but I ruined this movie for myself because I guessed the antagonist correctly on the trailer. We talked about it in the trailers, if you remember, when I pointed out how young Barry was coded. He was wearing yellow a lot, and I thought he was going to be the Reverse Flash, which would have made him the antagonist. Now I was wrong there, but young Barry was the antagonist of this movie. So although I didn't quite get it right, it was sort of
that in the book.
Yeah, and
because that's one of the most tragic stories in comics. Because that's literally how it happens in the book. This man shows up, kills his mom, and his dad gets blamed and sent to prison. And he spends his whole life trying to get his dad out or save his mom. He finally goes back and saves his mom, but it fucks the butterflies effects so hard that it just ruins everything.
Yeah, the Flashpoint comic is cool.
It's such a mindfuck because I will give them this, that they did tip the hat to it, because remember when they're in the Speed Force and you're seeing the worlds collide and get destroyed and shit. He's like, I've done this a million times or whatever. It just doesn't work that way. And that's what broke Reverse Flash. And that's why he keeps going and going and going. And it's fucking nuts. But Reverse Flash is the one who ends up going back and killing his own mom. And that's what makes him crazy and makes him turn into the Reverse Flash.
Yeah, well, in this it was, I guess they called him Dark Flash. So young Barry, they made it a point to not call him Reverse Flash because I think maybe they are still holding out hope because the DC will not fire Ezra Miller. They still haven't. I still think that they are holding on to hope that they can come back to this because Reverse Flash is Eobard Thawne. Eobard Thawne is someone, and this is a weird Terminator-esque time loop that really only makes sense in comic books, but Eobard Thawne is someone from the future who grew up in a time where they idolized the Flash, and so he ends up somehow through, and I can't remember the intimate details here, but basically he eventually in the comics has to be the one to go back and kill Barry's mother because it's become a self-fulfilling prophecy because Eobard Thawne was such a big Flash fan that in the future when they had the technology, he recreated the Flash's accident so that he can have his powers, and then he doesn't he was destined to become his greatest enemy, and then so they do this weird thing where the Reverse Flash, even when he's dead, he's never really dead because kind of like Kang or whatever, you know, once you start going back in time, the possibilities are endless. So maybe they've left that open, but yeah, it's still having him be
what the fuck.
Having young Barry be Dark Flash was still sort of, like I said, it was the right call. I was very glad that they didn't have Zod be the main villain. I was glad that he was exactly. You couldn't, I mean, why they're paying so much homage to Snyder of all things, while at the same time completely not
just shitting on everything he did. Yeah,
they are doing a Justice League version of the Flash. Like if you're gonna do it, do it and do a dark version. But I don't know. I could beat this movie to death. I could beat it up a million different times until it's wearing my armor, much like the Dark Flash. But do you guys have any other thoughts on this multiverse before we skip over to one that was more satisfying, I think, to a lot of other people, if not me?
Bring back Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
Yes, bring back Michael Keaton.
Yeah. And Supergirl.
Well, yeah, I can't wait until that Supergirl movie drops. That's awesome. And it's listed on her IMDb.
Oh, nice.
So she's listed as being in that movie. I would assume they will make her Supergirl, because if they don't, what the fuck?
As long as they spend over $100 million, it might get made. Rest in peace, Batgirl. I hope somebody leaks that someday. I want to watch that movie.
Right?
I want to watch a movie that was so bad.
She acted the part. She was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And she looked great in the suit. What more do you need?
I thought she looked great in the inpatient outfit as well. She did a phenomenal job.
No, I will say that was actually really cool. Did you catch when Ezra Miller puts her down? Like they get outside and he sets her down for the first time, and the sun starts to shine on her.
Yeah.
Where the muscles started to regain.
Yeah.
In her hand and shit. That was really cool.
It was like she was
getting her strength.
Yeah, she was being reborn.
Well, yeah, that's
how they get their strength.
Right. So that was really cool seeing that effect.
Absolutely.
I
just really liked her character. I thought
she did
a
great.
great job.
She did absolutely great. I would love to see a Supergirl movie.
Yeah, I hope they don't bring up the fact that they killed off baby Superman again, though. That was rough.
Oh my god, she lost her shit. And I would love to see a Superboy.
Interesting. I know nothing of Superboy.
So, Superboy was a clone of Superman.
Okay, that could be interesting.
Wasn't Superboy the clone meant to fight him? Didn't Lex Luthor do that to fight Superman? I don't remember.
Oh, I'll be honest with you. I don't remember Superboy's origin.
But yeah, he's a clone. He's Connor.
Okay.
Or Connell. He got He's a good guy. He's one of the super people that ends up on Teen Titans from time to time.
Okay.
Because sometimes it'll be Supergirl or
yeah, because he does have a son version of Superboy at one point, right?
Yeah.
There's some continuity
he has a
where
son.
it's yeah.
Con-El? No, not Con-El.
Con Air. It's Nick Cage again. Boom! It all comes back to Nick Cage.
It all does.
That's their new podcast name. Seven Degrees of Nick Cage. John L.
Yeah. John L. is Superman's son, and he's bisexual.
Well, that's good. See, comics have been woke for a long time. People just now are getting butthurt about it. But, something that I was butthurt about was the alleged ending of the second installation of the Spider-Verse trilogy. So here's your spoiler warning now, folks, because I think I'm going to start at the very end of this thing. To get it off my chest, and then we can talk about the things that we did like. But I was very upset at the to-be-continued nature of the third act of this film. What did you guys think? I felt like it was gearing up for an end. It didn't feel like a whole movie to me. That's the short version to keep me off my soapbox. But what did you guys think about the movie?
I really liked Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. It kind of fucked me up a little bit. Because it was, the artistry on that, the animation styles, just very loud and bold in their own senses. So it was a little overstimulating for the senses, in my opinion. But I'm kind of sensitive to that shit. So other than that, I thought the storyline was great. And as long as I could take some breaks next time, I'm down to watch it again.
In that scenario, it's almost like you prefer that one on stream as well, right? It's almost better for the home theater, where it's like maybe I don't need to be surrounded by all the sound with all of this going on.
Yeah.
Maybe we shouldn't have done the DLX ticket.
It was good though. It was a great movie.
So good. I really liked it. I at least knew before rolling in that it was a part one.
Damn you! See, if I had known, it could have changed my entire experience.
And I think you're right on that, because I would have been pissed too. I mean, think about it like this: you go into Infinity War not realizing that it's part one. So yeah, I could see where you would be very disappointed, because there had to be that point where you're like, okay, how the fuck are y'all going to wrap this up in 2 minutes?
Exactly. I was like, dude, we're about to frickin' Game of Thrones this bitch at the end here, aren't we? We're just going to slap it together.
Right. So,
and scene.
Right. And then they hopped on a dragon and flew across here.
Oh my god. I thoroughly enjoyed the shit out of that movie.
That's good. See, my brother also enjoyed it. Now, he's a much bigger fan. He's the reason I watched the first Spider-Verse, was at his request. So I watched that with him, and yeah, he enjoyed the entire thing. And I would have enjoyed it, I think, better, much like one of my personal favorite movies over the past couple of years has been Dune Part 1. Knowing full well, because I know the story and I know its movie history, I knew what that was going to be. But also, as I mentioned to you in the pre-show, that still managed to tell an entire story,
right,
and wrap it up and let you know that there's going to be more. And to anyone in the comments or listening who might have me confused, let me be clear: I knew that this was part 2 in what everyone was hoping would be a trilogy that, based on the first installment's success, was almost guareed to be a trilogy. So I understood that this was leg 2 in a 3-leg race, but I didn't realize that it was, we're just giving you one big movie. We're giving you one big 4-hour movie, and we're going to break it in half. And so I felt like this was a really good first 2 acts of a film, but that there was no third act. And for me, as much as I like that first movie, because I didn't know I was walking into Fellowship of the Rings, having Frodo and the band get together at the very end just wasn't enough for me to be like, oh, that's so cool. Now conversely, I do look forward to getting the conclusion of the story. So that absolutely points to, yeah, they did something right, because otherwise I would just be, angry that you wasted my time. And it's not necessarily completely an angry that you wasted my time. I do want to see how the story ends, although, again, I knew we were bound to deal with it in the multiverse, and this is why I was always so upset in the past. We've got to get away from superhero fights a different version of themselves. That seems to be all anyone can ever think of. And it's crazy because they're pulling from source material. All of these characters have amazing rogues galleries. Like, The Flash has one of the best rogues galleries in DC other than Batman.
Oh, yeah.
And they had him fight himself.
Right.
And it's just like Spider-Man. You have... I mean, it's just a million alternate versions of Spider-Man, and then you still make the villain a Spider-Man. Like, come on, man! Like, would you guys not? And then on top of that, the other Prowler is Miles. So it's just, well, goddamn! Like, we just can't come up with any new ideas, can we? Yeah. So those parts irritate me. Although, again, it's not this movie's fault that the MCU has no original ideas, right? It's not this movie's fault that Thor and Iron Man and Hulk, that they all just let's have you fight an alternate version of yourself. That'd be cool for your origin story. That'd be great. So I have to take all that with a grain of salt. I mean, but in general, I liked the animation. I liked the jokes. I guess mentioning the jokes, that's another thing I think both Marvel and DC, as this Flash movie pointed out, it's good to be funny. I think we all like a little humor, but they just seem to have this bad habit of not knowing when to do it. Like, you're undercutting some of the most tense. You know, these are moments in your movie you should have us like leaning forward in our seats, like, oh shit, what's gonna happen? And then you'll just like crack a joke in the middle of this chase, and you're like, I mean, yes, that was funny. You gotta laugh, but why is a laugh? That's not the point right now. Like, it shouldn't be.
It's time to be serious.
Yeah. Baby shower. And
baby shower. Yeah.
It's, or ours
Stop
is
Spider-Man, and they do it's like, yeah, that was funny, but like, we should be building tension right now. Like, I should be caring about how insurmountable these odds are, not laughing at LOL. They did the Spider-Man meme again. That we
everyone
just saw
wants to be the Deadpool
the last
creators.
Spider-Man.
Pretty much.
That's the thing. We just had Far From Home. They literally just did that joke in the last Spider-Man movie. I'm so sorry that it took you 3 years to make this movie. I am. Someone beat you to your joke. Move on. Don't undercut the tension in your movie for a recycled joke. But who am I? You know, I reference movies from 2016 on my podcast, so you know, I'm just casting stones.
It was just I thoroughly enjoyed.
Yeah, let's say some good things about it. Now that I've said my negative things.
The Spider-Verse.
It was nice to have more of Gwen Stacy's story.
It's like awesome as fuck.
Oscar Isaac was dope.
Right?
Can we just have him play all, I was listening to a podcast earlier that suggested he should play Batman in the DCU since they're going away from Affleck and Keaton. They're like, why not Oscar Isaac? And I'm like, God damn, yeah.
He'd be perfect.
He's getting way too many, like, comic movie roles, but I still like it.
That's... Fuck.
I think... a DC one yet. Give me John Hamm.
Right? He'd be a good Batman.
Yeah.
Be a great Bruce Wayne, at least.
Oh,
like, you can figure out Batman.
Dude. Well, I think he'd be a great Superman, honestly, but
oh, yeah, I was big on before Henry Cavill got it, I was big Mad Men fan. I was a big John Hamm Superman and Donald Glover for Spider-Man.
He would be phenomenal for, like, Batman Beyond Keaton, though, I think.
Keaton, I would love them. It's a great point you made. They need to do Batman Beyond.
They do.
They need to do that. It's people are. That's nostalgia people want, and there's a story to be told there, and you could do it because of this. One of the perks of this movie is that it does keep all those other world or Elseworld stories open, like Robert Battenbat's Batman and Joaquin's Jokers. So where you could do this, where Michael Keaton can be the Bruce Wayne that helps Terry out in Batman Beyond. Like you could do that if you wanted to now.
Oh yeah.
And I would love to see that more than I'd like to see George Clooney play the role. What do you guys think about that? My thoughts are that the reason we saw George Clooney was sort of a way, as I mentioned before, for them to say,
close that door.
We're closing this timeline, and we're going to bring you Wally West Flash soon. And
basically,
we're keeping it open in case Ezra gets out of trouble. We can always come back to this in a few years. But I think the reason they gave us George Clooney was to say, like, we're not going further with this storyline right now. I feel like that was a cameo for a little nod, a little chance for George to reprise the character in a way that I think they thought people wouldn't hate. We'll get into that. But what are your guys' thoughts? Would you want to see George Clooney play this role at all going forward?
No.
Did he lose a bet or something? He hated that role.
I thought
he hated being Batman.
What was his name? Chris.
Oh, Robin.
Chris O'Donnell.
Was that Robin?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I figured he lost a bet, and that's why he wound up in the last 10 seconds, 5 seconds
probably.
of this movie. Like, because he really didn't seem to care about being Batman for a long time.
He would apologize.
I heard that he had
a regret.
Fucking bat suit in his office to remind him to not do shit just for money.
That's fair. Now, and it's interesting because he's been, some of it's nostalgia because we grow up and we forgive a lot of things that we were harder on, and a lot of people have now come to understand the business side of things and came to understand that those Schumacher directed Batman were never anything more than 2-hour toy commercials, and that they wanted that campy, shitty Batman. That George Clooney acted as he was directed, and so a lot of people in hindsight have said, hey, you were the worst Batman, but we acknowledge that it's not all on you.
It's not his fault.
And for what it's worth, I always thought he was a good Bruce Wayne.
I thought he was a good Bruce Wayne.
He can't help that they did a MasterCard ad where he's, he and Robin are outbidding for Poison Ivy, and he's like, never leave home without it, and he pulls out the frickin'
I almost forgot about that.
Yeah.
It wasn't him, in all fairness. I've never thought that he was a bad actor. I usually think of him as a doctor on ER, but I still never thought he was a bad actor.
Ramblers get rambling. I always think of him in Dusk Till Dawn, but
fair.
Or
he was good
Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Yes, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Yeah.
And that's the thing, he's a great actor. So while if there is some sort of path where they think about bringing him, I would rather see it in a Batman Beyond role.
That's fair.
But I think, and people pointed out, he came out for that cameo with a beard. So some were even suggesting maybe this was a Bruce Wayne that never was Batman, because you've never seen Batman with a beard. Very rarely do you see that. That's some Elseworld shit.
It doesn't match with the...
Yeah.
It distracts. You gotta see his chin, right? That's the point of that mask. He loves his chin.
Well, Jesus fuck. Do you think that rubber mask wouldn't rip half of a beard off your face?
Ooh, that's a good point, too.
Well, and it's something like someone can rip beard hair. Like, it's just not an easy identifier. And if someone rips it or whatever.
Well, Jesus fuck.
DNA.
You're spending... Also, yes, but you're spending 8 hours a night in a suit. In a neoprene rubber suit doing this to your
These
beard.
are the moments I wish we had visuals.
I know, me too. Me too. You're
like
so cute.
your fucking... My beard would just look like this all the time. And people would be like, man, I wonder why the fucking dude's beard looks so weird all the time. And then they would see the Batman suit. And they'd be like, oh, fucking
We'd have to braid your beard.
Yep.
We would have to braid my beard.
Which, again, would just be a dead giveaway.
It would.
It would be a little
obvious. But I think that's one of the reasons. I don't think he would have done it if it was a Batman cameo, not a Bruce Wayne cameo. I don't think he does it. And I think, it was a kind of a win-win. It's a paycheck, probably a pretty decent paycheck
good for him.
But with a budget like that, and then he gets to, I think in theory, gets to kind of a bit of a palate cleanser as far as Batman fans are concerned, except that some really freaking hate this. And so now he's just earned their ire once again. I'm indifferent because I got what I wanted out of this movie, which was just some Michael Keaton scenes, and they weren't terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It was weird. I was frustrated to watch him die to just like a crony, dying to a henchman, like like a second tier boss henchman. I just kept telling myself that character was Steel from the comics. Remember that?
Yeah.
Another part of the Superman sort of comic book world. I believe Shaq played him in a movie once, but that's neither here nor there.
Who? Kazam?
Yeah. So, yeah, right? So, yeah, sorry I ended up getting us back to the Flash somehow.
Kazam.
But Kazam, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, but there was, what is it? I don't remember Steele's canon, but I believe Shaq played him in a movie, but he was... he had the same Superman logo. I used to have the action figure, and he was like all made out of metal, and he had a giant Thor-like hammer.
Steelworks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, the 90s were crazy.
Some weird shit going
Yeah,
on. So yeah,
so
I just
much
told
weird
myself
shit.
it was that, but
They made him to replace like Superman after he died or something.
something like that. That's right. Yep. Dude, comic books
They
are
recently
great.
brought it back. Oh, new Superman this week.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to get. Man, I'm so behind on what I have to read. I'll never get caught up. I'm glad. Hopefully, it'll take another 3 years for the next Spider-Verse to come out because I'm gonna need some time to catch up on my work. before I
Well,
watch
Jesus,
it.
dude.
You're
So
wrong.
it was into
March 29th of 2024
right.
is the projected date.
Across,
That's the bonus
Beyond,
to doing it.
and then like the fourth, which is the third movie, but it's the fourth movie. They have that slated. They have a live action Miles slated, I want to say,
Oh wow!
and another live action Tom Holland, which everybody's losing their titties over because he'll be the first one to have a fourth.
Okay, very nice.
So yeah,
I wonder who will play Miles. And speaking of which, wasn't
they're talking
Donald
to
Glover?
one of the kids from Stranger Things.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
My son told us about that actually. Wasn't Donald Glover cameoed in this Miles? In the Spider-Verse?
Yeah.
Wasn't that cool?
That
I was
was
like,
neat,
wait,
yep.
was that the movie was that this movie? But yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Because that's
I
who
did like that.
he was supposed to be in Tom Holland's movie, The Prowler.
Yep. Yeah, because he talks about he's got a nephew. I got a nephew that lives out here. Yeah, my nephew Miles or something. So yeah, that was a pretty cool deep cut. Because technically, that is the character that he plays in whichever Spider-Man. I think it was the first one, right?
It was.
So yeah, that is pretty cool.
Nice. Now, yeah, I really liked it. I kind of hope the next one is not so much.
That's fair.
Like, so stimulating to all the senses. So, thank God there's no smell-o-vision. But, yeah. But I'm really looking forward to it.
Same.
And now that I remember there's a live action, I am looking forward to that as well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to finally dusting off the Spider-Man Miles Morales video game that I've been holding on to for a rainy day. And speaking of video games, that we've got a remake in the mix.
Yes,
What was this? Super. I jumped one. We're gonna have to go back after this, but Super Mario RPG remake.
Yeah.
I didn't know this. I
RPG,
didn't know about the I didn't know about the first one. This slipped past me somehow. What are you guys?
It was
on this?
essentially
Super Nintendo.
It was essentially Final Fantasy with Mario characters.
I had a Super Nintendo too, but I did not have that game that I'm aware of. If I did, then it did not leave an impression upon me that made me want to play it.
It's a deep cut.
Right? Yeah.
It's it's now worth quite a bit. So if you have that game for the Super Nintendo, you might want to look into getting it appraised if you're not attached, or you could just wait until after this one comes out. I don't know, it might be worth more, but I think it's
Probably would be.
I wouldn't be able to justify buying this just to play it and just to know what it's like, because it's like $100 to $150 just for that cartridge. So yeah, but it looks like the remake is going to be pretty true to the original. Not that any of us will know.
That's true.
Yeah, I never played the original.
I'm sure we can watch gameplay online somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm not buying it now. That price is going to go up. I'd be keeping an eye out if you do own it. I don't know how the remake will impact the value. It could make it go down, but I think it'll make it go up. Could draw some interest, but I segued us out of order, in which case I need to bring us back, almost like I'm Barry Allen, go back in time, and we can segue into the 6th season of Black Mirror, which you two saw. My Netflix boycott is still very much in play, so I did not watch this. I forgot that this was out. I might have turned it back on for a month for this, but it's all right. We'll talk about it. How did you all enjoy, if you enjoyed, season 6 of the Black Mirror?
It was good.
It was very good. I would agree. It's only got 5 episodes, but that's 2 more than the last season, so I don't know why they do that. It also kind of had more of an American Horror Stories vibe at times than it did a traditional Black Mirror vibe, where you have more of the sci-fi going on. Mm-hmm. The sci-fi's there, don't get me wrong. Okay. But you also have great actors and actresses in this one. Like, Selma Hayek is in the very first episode of the 6th season. Okay. And she's playing along with Annie Murphy for the most part. Michael Cera's in like 2 minutes of the movie. And then after that, I don't know the other actors and actresses as well, but that's just one episode. And that one was pretty good. That's Joan is Awful is the name of that episode. And they're kind of, I don't know, are they dissing Netflix? Are they warning us about Netflix? Like, what is happening?
It's kind of weird.
It is weird. They have this service in the first episode called Streamberry.
Yeah.
And that's where you can watch the show Joan is Awful, which is the title of the first episode. And it definitely brings up issues that you wonder if you could ever have to deal with in the future.
Yeah.
And then the second one was an episode that was turned into one of those Streamberry things because they talk about it in the first episode. It's called Lock Henry.
Oh,
so they tie that together in that way.
Yeah.
But after that, they kind of dropped the Streamberry thing. Huh. And, but I would say that the third episode is probably the hardest episode of Black Mirror I've ever watched.
Oh.
Like, that was Beyond the Sea with Aaron Paul.
Fucked up.
Oh, it was very rough.
So fucked up.
Twitter
because confirmed. Josh Hartnett
and
is in that episode.
Aaron Paul.
And Aaron Paul.
Well, both very good.
And they're astronauts.
And they're in space, but they're also on Earth.
Yeah.
And that's the one that has one of the Culkin brothers in it. Mm-hmm. Rory Culkin is in that episode.
Okay.
And it was very hard to watch. It was it was just rough.
Yeah.
Maisie Day was not my favorite. It wasn't most of people's favorites. That was the 4th one. And then the 5th one, Demon 79, was actually pretty good.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
It was probably the most innovative, but the one that was the least Black Mirror-esque.
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
Maisie Day actually wasn't very Black Mirror-esque either.
Interesting. So were there 5 this time around or 6?
5.
5? Oh, okay.
Yep. But like I said, there was only 3 episodes in the last season 5, and that was the one where you had the guy that plays Falcon from. We just watched that episode.
The new Captain America, right?
God. But that was season
Anthony
5.
Mackie.
Anthony Mackie, yep. And then you also have there was an episode in between this one, but you also have the last episode of that season was Miley Cyrus. And I'm thinking that might have gotten people like Aaron Paul and Salma Hayek willing to do these kinds of roles. So hopefully the next season will be even better. That's what I'm hoping for.
Nice. Yeah, looking forward to it. I'll probably wait until whatever the next... I'll add it to my binging list the next time I do buy a month of Netflix. But
fair.
Another binge-worthy... Although this puts us back in the video game world. You know, Lou was talking about a game series that we both have binged our fair share of hours back in our school days. Why don't you tell the folks about this upcoming... Is it a Nintendo Switch release? What is it?
It is a Nintendo Switch release. Just in time to be late for my birthday. 10/24 for the Nintendo Switch. Metal Gear Solid Collection 1.
Woot woot.
Woot woot in fucking deed. The Nintendo Collection... Jesus. The Metal Gear Collection goes back to...
Metal Gear.
Well, yeah. I want to say it goes back to the NES games.
Goes back to Otacon.
And when you were fighting Big Boss on the original, like, Outer Heaven and all that shit.
The NES games. That... Admittedly, never played those. I don't know if you got nostalgic and went back.
I did at a certain point. So yeah, that has, like, the NES games. Metal Gear. Right? Then Snake's Revenge. And
Metal Gear Solid.
Of course, Metal Gear Solid for the PS1.
Metal Gear Solid. I'm just trying to list other ones while you find whichever one it is that you're looking for. And then they have Snake Eater.
They do.
I imagine that's where it stops, right? Because it's just going to do the classic ones.
Yeah.
You include 4 and 5. I mean, 5 is never done.
It goes up
right?
to Snake Eater, basically.
5 will never be done.
And then, Hideo Kojima. And then it'll have the VR missions, too. Did you ever do the VR missions one?
I did not. No. I still... I played through most of 4... and then eventually just watched some YouTube videos to figure out the end of it, because my time with the PS3 was not long for this world. I think I went back to Xbox for a while, and then I've had a PS4 for a long time. Well, you and I both, I think you might have been the one that told me about it, because I bought 5 when it was on sale with all of the... So I got like the full version of that, and have yet to beat it, because it's such an in-depth... Like, those open world games, I really don't like to rush through them, so I can't play through... I'm still playing Red Dead 2.
That's fair.
I'm still playing Fallout 4.
Yeah, also, yes, yeah, because I, at one point, put down Fallout 4 and Red... If I'm playing an open world game, I play one at a time, and I dole it out a few hours here and there throughout the week. It's not... That's like, when we were talking about the... Mario RPG, and we watched the trailer earlier. That my first thought, the reason I was sad about not knowing the original wasn't because I felt deprived of some nostalgia. It's because I'll never have time until I'm in a nursing home. I'll never have 4 hours to dedicate to a night playing an RPG the way that I used to. And it's like, man, I wish that game had been in my life when I had the time to spend with it. Which is kind of how I feel about Metal Gear Solid 5. I got really into it, but it's too much to juggle with other things. And honestly, that's how I feel about this collection. I have Metal Gear Solid 2 on my PS2. I do plan on streaming that sometime soon for fun. But if they just release Snake, maybe depending on the price, because Snake Eater is a game I would love to play with updated graphics, because it was the first one to give you that new camera view that really works.
Right.
You know, the PS2 version and the PS1 version, the camera was limiting, but that was part of the espionage. Whereas 3, you know, we have 4, we have 5, so we've seen really nice, like really souped up Metal Gear graphics. But I would love to see that old school 1960s Bond-esque vibe on a really nice, clean next gen engine. So that's what I'd be. Re-release that on the PS5 and I'll buy. Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's legit, dude. Metal Gear Solid was always one of the PS1 games I would go back and play for just whatever ungodly reason. And then even 2, I would go back and play just for shits and giggles. Because it was so weird.
Yeah.
And then, like, okay, so, Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty, right? Did you ever figure out that, like, you can do, like, pull-ups in that?
I don't remember the pull-up thing. No, I remember they have lots of little random Easter eggs, and I mean, those Metal Gear games are always good for that.
Right? So if you pushed and held L2 and R2, right? At the same time, you would do a pull-up. And you could do that to, like, look. So, like, if you pulled yourself up a ledge, right, you could enter first person and look over
cool.
that edge, right? Now, if you kept doing them, you could level up your grip.
Nice.
For literally no fucking reason.
Yeah, just like how. Yeah,
there is nothing in that game
funny.
where that actually becomes a problem.
That's the attention to detail in Metal Gear games. There are tons of little Easter eggs and stuff like that.
That literally fucking do nothing.
Just for the, well, you know, it does nothing, but it makes the universe feel more lived in.
It
does. It adds a certain depth to the game. It's one of the many reasons why people love Kojima, despite the flaws and faults that the games and projects are often come with it. But you know, when you're playing as one of the snakes, I believe it's Solid Snake in Snake Eater, of course, you eat some weird things as a spy sent into the jungle. One of them being snakes,
Russia.
But here in America, we might soon be eating chicken that is made from apparently some snake cells or something. I don't know what is going on. There's some kind of mystery.
Harvested chicken DNA.
We are cloning. We're eating cloned food soon. Which
yes,
we better
printing.
I better get that 4 for 4 back.
Right?
No more 4 for 5,
right?
4 for 6. If you're cloning this food, I better see some food costs coming down.
Science meat.
I mean, in a couple of years, you will be able to get it at restaurants and stuff like that. And then probably 5, maybe 8 years.
7 to 10 years grocery, something like that.
Grocery, yeah.
Yeah.
And after that, then we'll find out that we're all the Walking Dead. You know, it'll be like, oh, right? actually, we're all dead, but it's too late.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about this. They're thinking it's going to be niche at the beginning to buy it in like grocery stores and stuff, so that it won't be as inexpensive as
because that'll make the middle class want it, and that'll drive right. You make it a niche, you'll just make hipsters want it. You'll make
it a trend.
Yeah.
And I mean, good luck.
Professionals want it, like because
fuck that.
No one with a brain in their head actually just wants to spread avocado on toast. But here we are, right? You know, I'm just kidding. If you actually do like avocado toast, I'm being hyperbolic. But it was a thing that started out very niche that became a part now. Although I will say, avocado ice cream, my dudes,
ooh, that
slaps.
sounds yummy. I love avocados.
Chocolate flavored avocado ice cream
Where do you
wouldn't
get
have
this?
known. I'll have to hit my buddy up. You can get it at grocery stores. I just can't remember this particular brand because
That's fair.
he also told me to avoid certain flavors. But the chocolate, it reminded me of like a chocolate malt that I would get at, I used to get them at Wrigley Field back in the day, but you can get
Holy
chocolate
shit.
malts kind of wherever. But it'd have that kind of a flavor, so it didn't taste like chocolate ice cream so much, but it's still very good.
Yeah.
But that was just what my joke was getting at was just, you have these things, you make them exclusive like that,
Yeah.
you make people want it, and then that also then leads to knockoffs, that leads to off-brand. So I think, I don't know, if it's here, we'll see it soon enough. But I thought my mystery meat days were behind me when I graduated middle school, but here we are. Hopefully they don't print them out to look like a McRib sandwich. Otherwise, actually, no, I hope they do, because then I will definitely never eat it. But
They're working on making chicken breasts and steaks, but
Yeah.
they are thinking that it's going to be a little bit difficult to get up and running right away, so it's more likely to be like ground beef, ground chicken.
Oh, good. So go get your Taco Bell while you still can. I'm not sure what that ground beef
your,
currently
That's
is.
not
chicken
meat
nuggets.
either. That's not meat. that's plants. I refuse to eat the Beyond Meat shit, the Impossible Burgers. I won't eat those. I don't think our bodies are supposed to have that shit. And granted, it's made out of vegetables, but it's processed like everything else.
Yep.
But it's processed way more than ground beef is. And people have had issues with that, with their stomachs and shit like that, because
Yeah,
a lot
you
of
can't overdo
times
that.
you can't digest that shit
Or
very
having
well. Your
allergic
body has no
reactions to
idea
the
what the
shit in
fucking...
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, your body
Yeah.
doesn't know what to do with that. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be the same thing, but I'm not saying it's not.
That's a
Right.
good point.
What is it going to do to us?
I certainly, that is one food test I will not be signing up for.
Nope.
We live near a Wendy's corporate, and if you so choose, you can get paid to go test some of their food. I will not be taste testing any
I've
of
done it.
whatever this is, right?
It was
Yeah,
good.
it
It was
ain't a
fun.
bad gig when you can get it.
Right? Getting free Dave's doubles and shit.
Neither is
Ooh.
this gig. This is a great gig when we can get it, but we are also at around the 70-minute mark. So if y'all have any final thoughts, probably time for us to stretch our legs and send them home. Anything else you guys want to talk about while we're here?
$5 foot long.
Oh, see, now I have to go get food.
You know they'll have the lab-grown meat.
Yep.
Oh, God, they will. Yeah, they already have
They don't even have
lab-grown
real
bread.
tuna.
Yeah, they don't have real bread. There's plastic in your bread.
What is their tuna? That's the only thing I've been able to eat there for years. What is their tuna?
And on that note, we'll see you guys next time.